The following is a 5 for 2 production.
Mama, please, let me go to the show. I dig them bad boys playing that rock and roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 8. Crazy 8. Todd, we've made it through 8 episodes. Now, we've made it through 7. We're just starting on 8 here.
I could die now, so you never know. We might get
No, buddy. You've got at least 18 more left. So you gotta hang in there for me, buddy. You gotta hang in there.
Kevin's paying my life insurance for me now, folks.
I gotta get him through this show. It's gotta happen. So Todd, here we are.
I know how Alice Cooper felt like in the mid '70s. Jeff's like, God damn it, Alice, put the outfit on, get out there.
I feel like the guy that's pumping Pink full of chemicals in the movie and shoving him out to stage.
Yeah.
Come on, one more round.
Just another performing monkey. Here we go.
Yay.
All right,
So we are up to episode H.
Letter H. Now, quick trivia question for you. You may know this.
Okay.
Maybe some of our viewers out there, all 100 of them, may know this as well. What famous television show was recorded at Studio 8H?
WKRP in Cincinnati.
No, this is right. Well, that's an actual show, but okay. No, all right. I'll give you an extra hint. It was filmed in New York City, and there was a second television show named about the place where this first television show was shot.
Saturday Night Live.
There you go.
Yeah, right. So
SNL was recorded at Studio 8H at Rockefeller Center.
So episode 8
for you to start the show.
Episode H. How appropriate. So Todd, who are we going to talk about tonight?
I only got 3.
Okay. I only have a couple of stories as far as the H's go, and I've got a couple of funny honorable mentions I want to throw in. But guess we'll start with Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker.
That's my main guy tonight.
Okay.
God bless Sammy. We love him.
Yeah, we love Sammy.
He may be as bad shit Republican as Ted Nugent, but goddamn it, he can still play guitar. And he wrote some good songs back in the 70s and early 80s. So
hey, Sammy said recently that he was willing to die for live music to come back. So
if that means he has to kill Trump, then go for it, Sammy. Go for it.
Todd's little sliver.
Hey, look, I'm sorry. Look, eventually Ticket Stubs and what the hell was that are gonna mesh. So there's gonna be some cross pollination here.
Worlds are colliding.
Yeah.
So did you like?
I think Sammy Hagar would be a great guest to have on. What the hell was that? So.
Oh my God! Well, we're still working on Colin Gal. So we'll once we get that achieved, we'll move up to the
work out. Look, maybe fingers crossed. I can run into Guy Fieri when he's down here at the Villages. He can put in a good word for me. And
hey, he's got to come on. It'll help him with getting Columbus renamed Flavortown. So
there you go. I didn't realize. Now I think Guy is actually from Columbus.
He is. That's why there was a push whenever people were talking about potentially renaming Columbus. There was like a petition for them to rename it Flavortown.
That just reminds me of the episode of South Park when Randy's calling up everyone in the 614 area code. Why do you live in a racist town? Love it. Love South Park. All right, we're getting way off topic here. Sammy Hagar, Red Rocker.
Were you into Sammy in high school?
Yeah, actually, even before he joined Van Halen, I liked Sammy Hagar.
Me too.
And I think a lot of it probably had to do with the heavy metal soundtrack. So
yeah, absolutely. And for me, Three Lock Box. I think the video for Three Lock Box is what did it for me. And I still haven't figured out what a Three Lock Box is to this day. So
it's got to be something with a pussy involved. I don't know.
That's what I think.
But look, anything with Sammy Hagar was either about cars or pussy. It was one of the two.
True.
That's why him and Dave got along so well.
Yeah, what do you think his little Van Halen symbol was supposed to mean? I'm just saying. So,
Sammy Hagar was never that deep a thinker. All right, let's be honest.
So, my Sammy Hagar story that I want to tell, I've seen him several times. I never got to see him till later in his career after he left Van Halen solo, and there's a reason for that. And that's why the story I want to tell is about the Sammy Hagar concert that I didn't see.
Didn't get to see? All right.
Yeah. So when my nephew Aaron, who's going to turn 37 this year, was about to turn 1 year old, I had tickets to see Sammy Hagar on the VOA tour with Crocus as the opening act, and my parents would not let me go. They said, "You've got to go to your nephew's first birthday party." To this day, Todd, I will not let him live that down. I'm like, "Hey, you remember when I was there for your first birthday? Well, you're lucky I finally got to see Sammy Hagar solo. To this day, I've still never seen Crocus. And I was supposed to see him this year in 2020, of course. But no. COVID nixes Crocus. So anyway.
Right, we'll get to Crocus when we get to the case. We got about a week before we
I
get
never saw him. So there's the Crocus story because it fits in with the Sammy show I didn't see.
So what year did you finally get around seeing? Well, now you saw Sammy Hagar with Van Halen, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Saw him 5150. You know, obviously we'll tell a lot of these stories in Van Halen, but saw him on Monsters of Rock. Saw him with you on the reunion tour, but the Sammy Hagar reunion tour in 2004. But the first time I saw him solo was the Sam and Dave tour.
I saw him once before that in '99 at Polaris in Columbus. I don't know why you weren't there.
Not sure. Maybe I was. I'd have to look back. Was that Sammy Hagar and the Wabaritas? You know, as we've talked about on past shows.
Yeah, I went by myself. You weren't there.
Some of these shows met together, but I'm pretty sure the first time I saw him solo was with the Sam and Dave tour, which was great. Heather bought me a ticket for my birthday that year. Yeah, it was awesome. He had the bar on stage and all the people and everything. He is really have you ever heard him called the Jimmy Buffett of heavy metal?
It's appropriate. It's appropriate. Well, he's certainly a marketing wizard.
Absolutely.
He's made more money on that damn tequila than he ever has selling records. I'll tell you that right now. So
do you have a Sammy Hagar story about a specific show, or when did you see him for first?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've seen him twice. I saw him in '99 with the Wabaritas, and I try to find when I'm doing research for the book, I usually use this website called FM Set Lists, and generally speaking, they're relatively accurate. From what I can recall. And so a lot of times, if you can't find your show, you can find a show from like the night before. And generally speaking, unless they're one of those bands that change their set list every night, it's going to be close to the same thing. So I looked up the set list for '99, couldn't find it. Looked up the one for 2002 with Dave and found that, as well as finding Dave's set list. Now, after comparing Dave's set list with Sammy's set list, I'm just gonna save this right now and just say you'll have to wait till the R's for my David Lee Roth review. Now, when you saw him, who was first? Was it Dave or was it Sammy?
Dave was first.
All right. So now, folks, you have to understand this concert tour was billed as it was like the championship of rock and roll songs or something like that. And even my ticket says, the tour you've waited to see. Seeing David Lee and Sammy on the same bill was
when they pretty much only talk shit about each other up to that point,
Well, I mean, considering how much Van Halen boys hated Dave, and I'm sure there was no lost love between Dave and Sammy once Sammy joined Van Halen. So the fact that they were both touring together, to me, just seemed like a little fuck you to Eddie from both of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't want either of us in your band. Fuck you. We're gonna tour together. Watch this, motherfucker. So
Hey, those shows were packed. I mean, I saw it at Polaris, and I don't think he could have fit another person in there. So
So, all right. So I gotta say, this is all I'm gonna say about Dave. The set list was infinitely better. If you like old school Van Halen, Dave was probably your winner. If you like the Sammy Hagar Van Halen stuff, then you may have enjoyed Sammy's show a little bit more. For me personally, it's a matter of, do you want to hear Dreams, or do you want to hear DOA? So
Exactly. Yeah, that was the one thing when Sammy joined Van Halen. It was kind of a bummer that he didn't do more of the old Roth material. They did really become a whole different band. But again, I don't want to get us into a whole Van Hagar discussion. We can probably deal with that down the road when we get to the V's. But
I kind of put Sammy Hagar in that same niche as I put say like Joe Walsh, in the fact that me personally, I like their stuff before they joined the band that made them super huge.
Absolutely.
And I think once they got super huge and then started doing solo stuff again, I think every artist is best when they're young, best when they're fresh, best when they've got new ideas and fresh perspective on life. The older you get, the crankier you get, the more you're worried about paying your bills and keeping your wife and keeping the dog happy.
Sammy doesn't seem to be very cranky in his old age, though.
Well, he's got money. There's no reason for him to be cranky. It's not, if I were Dave, I'd be cranky. That poor guy.
Dave's got to be pissed. He was going out on the road this year with Kiss. Nope.
Was he gonna?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was opening for Kiss. One of my buddies had tickets, including a meet and greet. But we'll get to Dave when we get down to the Yars. So I'm surprised you've never seen Hall & Oates coming to Another H.
Never interested.
Yeah.
I got a couple Hall & Oates songs on my iTunes, but they were one of those bands like in 7th grade when they were real popular that the girls liked, like Rick Springfield, and one of the bands that we made fun of.
Right. Back then, I say this now because back then, like, I treated a lot of music as the enemy. And if I would have known then what I know now, I should have been into a lot of that music. I met this dude once, and he said he was totally into Duran Duran in high school because he was the only guy into Duran Duran. And he said he loved going to the Duran Duran concerts because he could pick up all kinds of women because he'd be the only dude there.
I'll never have kids of my own, but Charlie's about 10. When he hits about 12 or 13, my advice to him, because I've already tried to get him into my kind of music, but my advice to him will be this: listen to everything. And even if you don't like what the girls like, pretend you do anyhow, just to give you something to talk about. Absolutely. So,
and if you can dance, even better.
You're right. Okay.
No, a couple quick things about Hall & Oates for me. I've seen them twice. The first time I saw them, it was a Christmas show, and it was a Christmas show. I'm sitting here like 2 hours into Hall & Oates singing Christmas songs and saying, like, come on, give me a man-eater or a what? I can't go for that something. I think they did. It was kind of like seeing Neil Young on the Greendale tour. He gave just a
when he did the entire fucking play.
Right.
Oh, Christ, that was horrible. That was horrible.
Well, anyway, Hall & Oates Christmas was
Neil Young, but
Hall & Oates Christmas was similar. But then last year I did see them with Heather, and Hall & Oates is a good date night concert.
I'm sure that'd be fun. I'd go see him now. I'm just saying, back in 7th grade, I was very prejudiced.
Right, exactly. So I guess that brings us to Heart. We're going to talk about Heart this evening.
That's my number 2 band. Like I said, I got 3 on the list. Heart is number 2.
This is the only prop I pulled out. It's from my early tickets. Once again, we talked a lot about the Charleston Civic Center in the last few episodes, but there's
what
Heart.
Year was that? I can't read.
19. Let me make sure. I've read them wrong a couple of times off the screen. It was February 20th of 1986. So it's probably about it was within my first 10 concerts.
They were in the sappy 80s ballad point.
Exactly. Yeah. I actually wanted to pull out. I wrote a review of that show for my high school newspaper, and I wanted to pull it out and actually read it on the air tonight. But we moved here about a year ago, and all my stuff's in boxes, and I didn't really have the time to dig it out. But yeah, I was more of a fan of the 70s Heart, all the cool hard rock stuff, and I was basically going to see them for that reason. I was picking up the you know, the bucket list early on there. I figured I'd, so yeah, it was a big production. The one thing about my first Heart show, within like
Who
my
was the
first,
opening act?
this is what I'm going to bring up. Within like my first, let's call this Heart show my 7th concert. Within my first 7 concert, I had to watch Autograph twice. First time was at my first show with Van Halen. The second time was here with Heart. And yeah,
I hated Autograph.
I hated Autograph. I was never a fan. Turn up the radio, I would turn it off. So, or turn the station. But anyway, so I did get to see Heart a few years back, another birthday show. Heather's awesome for buying me good concert tickets for my birthday. But she took me to see Heart a few years back before the Wilson sisters were feuding. And, you know, they're more focused on the old 70s stuff.
I just found out about that like this week as I was doing research for that story.
Yeah, they like hated each other over Ann's husband, which I'm sorry, I thought Ann was a lesbian. I had no idea that she was married to a man.
Well, that's, I mean, not to you know, give away too many details of
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
what the book version has to say, but I mean, like, you know, Heart for me was one of those bands that, yeah, you know, they had some hits, and I probably had the greatest hits. I probably had 1 or 2 of those 80s records, but I probably knew them more for, you know, Ann being in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, or Nancy, I should say.
Yeah.
And Ann just for her weight gain. And you know, again, this is not to body shame any rock and roll.
No, but she did. She changed into a completely different person in the 80s. I mean, you could look at those old 70s albums and, you know.
They were both hot.
Yeah, exactly. And she, Ann has lost a lot of weight and gotten really fit lately as far as like the most recent pictures I've seen. So good for her. All right, Ann.
There you go.
Yeah, right on.
Well, and again, not to delve into the you know, fat shaming and all, but you know, that's the sad part about rock and roll is you know, it's always been a man dominated business. Women have never really been given a fair shake to even get an attempt to get in there. What I did not know until doing some research, you know, Ann and Nancy were not original members of the band.
They didn't start Heart?
No, it started out with like 5 schmoes with the band named Army, and which then turned into like White Heart, and then one of the guys, the guitar player's brother, I guess, was up for the draft and went off to Canada to avoid military service, and followed him up there. So Ann joined the group in like 72, and then they changed their name to like Hocus Pocus.
Okay, I remember. I think
and then it's like 74. Nancy joined the band and immediately started banging the guitar player.
Right. That's true. They were a Fleetwood Mac style band back in the 70s. Everybody was banging everybody. That's another thing about Heart. It's not really a concert story, but we can, when they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I just remember they were cool enough to let the old guys come up and do a song. And I just remember, I think it was Roger Fawson, maybe the other guitar player. He was just like, you could tell, like, that was the highlight of that dude's life. He was just out there like, fuck yeah.
I told you I was in this band. 30-something years, people at work made fun of me. Yeah. I've never seen you once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When did you see Heart?
I didn't see him until it was 2008.
Okay, so more modern Heart. But still, by that time, they were focusing on the good material again, really. They, probably maybe played these.
Well, it was a pretty good triple bill. None of these bands had gotten into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet, although they all would eventually get in. It was Journey, Heart in the middle, and Cheap Trick opening.
Okay.
So, and again, I went for Cheap Trick. That was my main incentive.
Of course you did.
I'd never seen Heart, so that was like, all right, well, let's go see that. And I was impressed. They were good. They sounded great. They only played 8 songs, 2 of which were like covers. They did a Zeppelin song and a Who song. They did like 3 crappy 80s tunes. But they did like, Barracuda, and they did Straight On.
Mm-hmm.
And
do any Zeppelin? They've always covered Zeppelin.
They did a Zeppelin song. I'd have to look it up again. I forget which one, but
yeah, they wear their Zeppelin fandom on their sleeve.
yeah.
Another going from heart alphabetically. I guess you must have not seen them, but we already really talked about Black Sabbath. But I did see Heaven and Hell a couple times when they got back together, and Ozzy wouldn't let him use the name. But the last time I actually
Sharon wouldn't. I know.
yeah, exactly. The Ozzy camp, which means Sharon. But the last time actually I ever saw Ronnie Dio perform, and the last time I saw Lemmy perform were at a Heaven and Hell concert, which we actually saw both of them perform together once with Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
we'll get into that next week.
So save that because I only have two eyes. All I got is Iron Maiden and Isbell, so that's it. So
well, we're kind of wrapping it up, but there was a band on here I was going to ask you about, and then you confirmed with me this week that you did see them, the Hooters.
We're wrapping it up already. Holy cow.
We're getting close. I've got a few more on here. I got another story to tell, but
all right.
Anyway, but what about the Hooters?
That was my third and final entry, and I do have a prop on this one.
Okay.
No ticket stub, but I do have the backstage pass.
Nice.
You might be able to read the bottom, but the bottom says "Bite the Bullet." That was the name of the tour. Was the Bite the Bullet tour.
How early? When was this in the Hooters' career?
At the very end. hence the name of the
Bite
tour.
the Bullet. They knew the writing was on the wall, huh?
They were on their third record. Sales were not as good as the first two, and the second one was nowhere near as good as the first one. So it was a pretty big steep from that. I mean, they were huge in 85, 83, 84, 85. I mean,
and we danced.
Were you familiar with them? Did they play them at your high school dances and shit like that?
Weren't they from like your area?
Yeah, they're from Philly.
Okay. So,
but they were popular in Central PA in my high school time.
Wonder whatever happened to those guys. I wonder if they're out there doing the nostalgia circuit.
Well, the one guy is probably just kicking back on his royalties for True Colors. That's
Oh, really? Did he write that?
So that was really their big thing. Was the one guy was a really good writer.
Okay. Makes sense.
Names of the band now escape me. So, folks, if you're really interested in the Hooters, I'm sure go do a little Wikipediaing, or even better, just go on iTunes or whatever, Pandora, and go buy some of their music or something. That'd be nice. So,
one H that I couldn't pass up because I did get to see him twice, and it's truly legendary. I know you're not a big country guy, but I did get to see Merle Haggard twice.
I'm not done talking about the Hooters. Wait, we're moving on.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Tell me.
Well, sorry, it's funny. So I was kind of
I didn't know you had an extended story for the Hooters. I'm sorry.
I got a backstage pass. I got to talk to the band afterwards and everything.
I'm sorry, Todd. Last week, when we went off the air, you were yelling about me about this whole podcast thing taking too much of your time. I'm trying to be economical here.
Look,
I would love to hear more stories. I would love to hear an extended Hooters story.
All right, fine. It's not that thrilling. I'm just saying.
I've set the bar high now.
Jump right into Merle Haggard, which I enjoy thoroughly. I'm just saying I had. Don't cut the Hooters off that quick. Come on now. They give them 5 minutes, would you?
Right. Now come on the ladder of success. Merle Haggard's top and Hooters like first row.
They're no Merle Haggard, but still,
Okay. But anyway, let's hear about the Hooters.
But yes, all right. So, just being a Central PA guy, I was kind of curious to go see him in the 1990 point of their career, because let's face it, music had changed from the time they were on MTV in 83, 84, 85 to that point in music. And their third record called Zigzag, which I thought is a great record, bit of a downer, to be honest. It's a lot of serious topic matter.
Their dark period.
But it was dark. It was not a happy record,
Things probably weren't happy for them at the time.
No, I'm sure they weren't. But it's still, they were good fucking songs.
That's all.
And so anyhow, I went with my cousin Erica, who was the older sister to my cousin Dennis, who I've mentioned many times before on the show, and I'm sure we'll bring him up again. But Erica was actually more of a rocker than Dennis anyhow. I don't know if you've met Erica or not.
I have.
She was a couple years older, a little taller, but she she likes her Judas Priest as well as her Jim Croce. So I mean, we both have an appreciation for both mid-70s heavy metal as well as cheesy singer-songwriters. So our emotions can go both ways musically. So I figured the Hooters be a fun show for her. Let's face it, the Hooters are kind of it's a date night kind of thing, and I didn't have a date, so I figured I'd bring my cousin. And I had an extra backstage pass. How exciting is that? Now, of course, if you've been to the Newport Music Hall, you realize that, first of all, there's only like 2 backstage rooms anyhow, and we didn't even get that far. Backstage pass at the Hooters show consisted of lights went up, bouncers started to clear all the beer bottles and shit off the floor of the venue, and they pushed everyone off to that little side area by the side bar, and we all and put a little rope up. And there was like 20 of us and the 4 guys in the band, and we got to hang out and drink beers with them for like an hour. So that hey, at least we got to meet the band, which is more than I can say for their backstage past experiences.
Did you get to meet them and tell them like, hey, you guys are from my area and stuff?
Yeah, I talked it all up. I probably talked about Kicks, and they were like, who? But which would be funny because that's exactly what Kicks said when I brought up the fact that they opened for Poison. Or Poison opened for them, I should say. At my house.
Right. That's
so I just wanted to give a shout out to that. That was it. That was the extra extended Hooters version of the story there, folks. So again, not that thrilling, but
I'm sorry I cut off the Hooters story. It is a good story.
Still good music. I highly recommend going out and downloading some Hooters. Get yourself some Hooters.
That's right. Todd, absolutely. Everybody loves Hooters. Todd and I don't pre-plan these shows, folks. Purely organic. We come on here, we turn on the Zoom, and we just start telling stories. So things happen as they happen. But so anyway, Merle Haggard, got to see him twice. The first time was with another legend, George Jones.
All right. So now, for those who don't know Merle Haggard, name some of his big hits.
Well, his really big hit was "Mama Tried," which is The Dead. They cover that a lot.
Didn't Johnny Cash cover that as well?
I'm sure Johnny's played a lot of Merle shows. Merle Haggard was actually famous for being in the audience at San Quentin when Johnny Cash played for the prison. Merle was a prisoner there at the time. Okie from Muskogee, that was one of his misunderstood songs. It's kind of from the point of view of a right-winger, but he said that he was writing from the point of view of his dad, but everybody, turned it into like an anthem. Yeehaw! Yeah, we don't smoke marijuana down here in Muskogee, Meanwhile, Merle's on the bus smoking plenty of marijuana.
Probably taking lots of speed.
But so yeah, I saw him with George Jones. That was awesome. I mean, come on. We could save the George Jones story for Jay, but it was great to see the 2 legends together. And then the second time I saw him was with Chris Christopherson. And I thought Chris was going to open the show with like a full set, and then, of course, Merle would play a set. But Chris came out, played 2 songs. I think he played Me and Bobby McGee and what's one of his other Sunday Morning Coming Down. And then he introduced Merle. Merle came out, and then they just did the whole show together. So because Chris was out there the whole time. Merle died about 8 months or so after that. So I think that tour may have been planned with, like, let's get somebody else out there kind of, to help assist Merle through
Prop him up.
Yeah, get him through the show. I mean, Merle wasn't faltering by any means. I mean, he got through a really great show. Another cool thing about that show, at one point they brought out, I don't know if you're familiar with the country singer, songwriter Jamie Johnston, but they brought him out at one point, and they said he was literally just driving through town between one date and another on his own tour, and like, holy shit, George Jones or Merle Haggard and Chris Christopherson are playing the Ohio State Fair. I'm going to go watch. Well, they said he just pulled his bus in behind, and he came out on stage with them and did Johnny Cash, The Long Black Veil. So that's pretty cool. But so yeah, I saw Merle twice. Happy for that.
Not exactly rock and roll, but still a classic Americana.
Definitely.
Classic American.
Not all these stories will be rock and roll. I'm a country boy at heart, Todd. So I have checked a few of the legendary country stars off of my list as well.
Hey, look, if they let Madonna in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think we can talk about Willie Nelson. So
Hank Williams is in the Hall of Fame, actually. And another one I wanted to mention just for funnies is Ian Hunter. I don't know if you're familiar with him, the singer from Mott the Hoople. Once Bitten, Twice Shy, folks. All the young dudes. But he played the Newport in 1988, and his guitar player in his band was Mick Ronson, who, of course, was the guitar player for the Spiders from Mars. Well, me and our old buddy Will had backstage passes, courtesy of WSR, previously mentioned on many episodes. And so we got to, go up in the dressing room, the little small back room where you can actually, fit more than 3 people.
One that has a bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're hanging out, and it was just funny because Ian Hunter was getting visibly upset that we weren't like fawning over him and wanting to talk to him. We were over hanging out with Mick Ronson trying to, fetch Bowie information out of him. So, and I literally think Ian Hunter ended up kicking us out. Like, hey, you guys, he got involved with some girls or something. Like, all right,
unless you're gonna blow me, get the hell out of my room.
We need 2 more spaces in this small room here. Yes, and unless you're doing sexual favors, out you go. But anyway, I thought it was pretty funny. I always remember this to this day. He was literally
crack were involved, what might have blown.
Saying like, "This is my show, not David Bowie's."
Sometimes people just can't accept the fact that they're not the center of the universe. It took me a long time.
There's a band, and then the last thing, since I've managed to finish my IPA here during the show, there's a band from Sweden called Horisont that I'm really into. Good band, go check them out, folks. They sound like Old Iron Butterfly. Really, just good band. But anyway, Todd, I see you frowning. Just shut up and listen to this for a second.
Just when you say Sweden, I just get the image of death metal. I don't know.
No, they're not death metal at all. They're Black Sabbath-y kind of old school, old school 70. You would love them. 70. I think their taste stopped in 1976 as well, Todd. So they're men after your own heart.
But anyway, they're like old like me.
But I mentioned them, and they're also men after your own heart for this reason. I went to see them at the Rumba Cafe here. And their singer, I'm sure beer in Sweden is stronger than PBR Tall Boys, but their singer, in the course of a 12-song set, Todd, he went through 18, I counted them, 18 PBR Tall Boys, and he did not fall down. He did not stutter his words, and he made it through the show. So shout out to the singer for Horisont right there. That's rock and roll, folks. 18 PBR Tall Boys, and you make it through the show. But
hey, Kev, we did forget there is one more H we can throw in here. I've probably put it in my book too, just so I can.
Okay. What do you got for me?
Tickets rolling in. Patterson Hood.
I had him on here, and I didn't know. I'd only seen him one time solo, so I ended up editing him out. I put him aside for this episode, but.
I think I've seen him 3 times solo.
Okay. Have you watched any of the online shows? I know the answer is no. That he's been
I have
doing.
Not. I have not. It's very technical for me. I don't know, And plus, I'm cheap. $15 to watch something? No.
I know they had like a combo ticket to get him and Cooley the rest of their shows for the rest of the year. It's like $125. It's like. When you think about it, it's not that bad because it's like the 20 shows. But when you're looking at laying out $125 for fucking TV,
just a must. Yeah.
So what Ticket Stubs is free, folks. You can come here on YouTube every Sunday night at 9, and you can see a new episode for
free. Let your hair down, drink a beer, smoke a bong, forget your troubles and woes for the week.
That's right.
We've already forgotten ours by now.
What are we going to talk about next week? Iron Maiden.
I don't have that much. Iron Maiden is pretty much probably half hour right there.
Exactly. And Jason Isbell. I figured between those two.
That's all I got.
Yeah, me too. But hey, we got a full episode out of just AC/DC, so Iron Maiden and Isbell will definitely fill the.
Well, I mean, I could just we could do I could put together a Photoshop of half an hour of Jason Isbell photos I've collected over the last 12 years.
Oh, actually,
shows.
It's pretty bad because with the eyes, I do have to go to rappers to find Ice stories, but I have seen Ice Cube and Ice-T, so I do, and I've got a good I do actually have a really good Ice-T story, so we'll put that on the agenda for next week.
All right. Well, that'll be
So,
Kevin's rap section.
Actually, it's more involves body count, but we've already been through the B's. So Ice-T's the
Right.
damn singer, so it's fucking Ice-T.
You can wait till we get to L and just discuss Lollapalooza.
Now we're going to talk about Page and Plant and check it off as Led Zeppelin. And of course,
I've seen Robert Plant open for the Who. Had a chance to see Jimmy Page with the Black Crowes. Broke his damn ankle, so I couldn't go see the show.
Have you read Steve Gorman's book, The Drummer from the Black Crowes?
No.
He said basically you want the spoiler on why Jimmy Page just totally canceled that tour and disappeared and never worked with the Crowes again.
Heroin?
No. Well, I mean, you could probably a little of that too. Well, he canceled the tour for back problems. My back hurts,
Right.
Probably because he couldn't find heroin. But Steve Gorman claims that he ran into Jimmy Page a few years later, and Jimmy confided in him and told him that he had been hanging out with Rich Robinson, and he offered to help him write on the next album or even just produce a song. And Rich looked at him and was like, "No, I'm good." You're gonna fucking tell Jimmy Page, "Nah, I'm good."
Now, see where I automatically thought you were going with this story was when you said, wait, Rich is the guitar player, correct?
Yeah, Rich is the guitar player, exactly.
Right.
So
I assumed you were going to say he banged his wife.
Oh, Chris, yeah, right. That's possible too. No, but Jimmy said he just felt insulted. He's like, "Well, what the hell am I wasting my time here? You don't even want my help to even write a song." He's like, "I wasn't even offering to write the whole album or produce the whole album. Just maybe write a song or produce a song." He's like, "And well."
Well, the tour I was talking about was they were playing. The Black Crowes were backing him playing all Zeppelin songs.
That's the tour I'm talking about. That tour got canceled about halfway through. It never finished.
Yeah.
Steve Gorman said he wondered for years, because he said he was on top of the world, playing drums for Jimmy Page. But anyway, so we're on to Jimmy Page. We're already up to the P's here, folks. Wrapping up the
time warp, folks. Time warp.
Yes, exactly. But
all right, we'll be back next week with a whole bunch of Iron Maiden stories. Up the irons.
Yes, that's right. And Infectious Cruise. In the meantime, check us out on YouTube. We've got 7 other episodes. You can go to Podbean or anywhere that you find your podcasts, and you can listen to the audio from this. You can hear Todd's show. What the hell was that? We got a show called Dan Bowski on music. Our buddy Dan down in Mexico that we talked about in our very first episode. He talks about band discographies, and we got some old metal shows that I did in college. So we got something for everyone, Todd.
Eventually, we'll be doing the Reverend Todd Baker Church of Truth and Love half-hour spiritual program
coming up in the fall,
and of course, we'll be bringing back new episodes of What the Hell Was That? Right. Following very closely Todd Baker's run for the presidential election.
That's right. November. So it's going to be a very exciting rest of the year, folks. Stick around on the 5 for New Network.
Got a lot going on, folks. Yeah.
I'm Kevin. That's Todd over there, and this is.
Can you dig
I
it?
said, what the hell was that? Ticket Stubs.
Can you dig it?
My soul's got